Like I said in the announcement video, I'll be looking at, or at least catching up to some cards. I definitely do think I need to talk about these. History Archive cards. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush. These are pretty much all pack filler. If you expect me to be hyper positive about these, well, you're going to be in for a bad time. So first off, we have Soul Energy Max, double exclamation point. It's a normal trap. Both effects are once per turn. If you control an obelisk control mentor whose original attribute is divine, yeah, because we're really worried about Phantom of Chaos interactions, right? It contributes 2 face-up monsters except obelisk. Well, that obelisk, if you control multiple obelisks, I suppose you can tribute the other obelisk. Destroys as many monsters your opponent currently controls as possible, including face downs. And if you do, inflict 4000 damage to them. You need to summon Obelisk and then have 2 additional monsters. Granted, there's a new spell that enables you to tribute your opponent's monsters for your effect. But combining that with the fact that it's a trap, which can be seen as positive if it's easy to get off, and yeah, I don't think this one really is that easy to get off. First fact doesn't really impress me. Second effect, however, during the main or battle phase, you can banish a card from the graveyard, add an Obelisk Tormentor from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and immediately after this effect resolves, you can also summon Obelisk Tormentor face up. So, by banishing it from your grave, you don't just get it back from your grave or search it, you also get to summon it for, well, free. You still need tribute fodder. But that graveyard effect is pretty good if you're playing an Obelisk deck. I wouldn't be surprised if this saw play with like 3 goods, 1 copy of this, if you're playing an Obelisk strategy for some reason. You don't want to draw this, however, so that's a bit of an issue, but, you know, it's pretty neat. I mean, it's not, the second effect isn't, except the turn this card sent to the grave. If you just mill it with Light Swords, for example, you can immediately use it. So, all things considered, terrible first effect if you ask me. At least it's usable in some situations. Second effect is pretty great, actually, considering it's Gold Card Support. So, reprint. Evolution, Result, Burst, normal spell. You can activate one of these per turn. You cannot special monster for the rest of the turn after this card resolves except with spell effects. Fair enough, you can still use Invocation. Lol. Also add an Overload Fusion from your deck to your hand. Also the maximum number of attacks per battle phase this turn. Of any monster you fusion summon using 6 or more materials with Overload Fusion this turn, it's equal to the number of materials used for its summon. So if you use like 6 materials, get attack 6 times. And it's not just attacks against monsters, it's just attacks in general. So if you somehow dump your entire deck into the grave, Zane style, and want to go into a huge Overdragon, this card will enable it. Will this card see any legit play? Definitely not the Cyber Dragons. The only deck I can see this play at the moment is, ironically, Ancient Gear. Ancient Gear love using Overload Fusion to go into Gale's Giant. No, we will not get additional attacks, but being able to fuse and summon it from the grave is insanely good. And I could definitely see this being a consistency boost for Ancient Gears. Now, I might be one of the few people that actually cares about Ancient Gears, but hey, at least it's something. It's not inherently a terrible card, it's just oddly specific. It's basically an Overload Fusion Searcher. You don't really need to use the other effects that you're locked into spells, or summoning by spells for the rest of the turn. So if this is like a turn ender, it's fine. Cyber Dragons don't want to run this, they can't even search it. I can definitely see a reality where Ancient Gears play this, for example. Oinaru Amashi, the Great Soul. So at this point, it's interesting. Retroactively, this will be uploaded after I probably review the new Jack stuff that should be in the dual time, which will happen in a few hours from recording this. So my order could have been better. At the moment we're looking at this blindly, I might need to revisit this card in that video. The Great Soul. It's a Jack card, naturally. It's a normal trap. Both effects are once per turn, but you can use both of them in the same turn, it seems. Yeah. If a Dragon Synchro monster is on the field, that's a pretty easy condition to fulfill, that even works at level 6. But you summon up to 2 Resonator monsters and or level 1 Dragon monsters from your deck. Not deck or graveyard, just your deck. pretty terrible right now. If somehow we get a quick effect Resonator or level 1 Dragon for quick effect Synchro in the new wave of support, this card instantly becomes broken. If we don't, this card's pretty terrible, at least the first effect. It's just too slow. It's just a fact. It's just a shameful fact. But it is too slow. Granted, Majestic Red Dragon is on the art, so I wonder if that's going to be some kind of shenanigans that they're going to enable. Whatever. Second effect. Maybe the Graveyard effect or something, that's good. When a monster effect is activated, if control level 10 or higher Dark Dragon Synchro monster, it should have been 9 or higher, so you can use this with just Abyss. Then again, you often enter Bane and Abyss, so I suppose it's fine. You can banish this card from the graveyard, negate the effect. That's already pretty good. And if you do, on Synchro Monster Control gains 2000 attack until the end of the next turn. So the next turn, so this actually helps with pushing for the game as well. 2k attack might seem useless, but it's not. Wow. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. This is a pretty good card. Reason why? You can run this with Chaos Ruler. Or somehow find another way to discard. Granted, I don't really know a way to do that. You can only use one effect per turn, so if you set this, it's not going to be active the turn you use it, which is a bit of a shame. It's also going to be pretty easy to grind game if you do want to use the first effect for some reason, future support. But yeah, it's just a monster negate in the deck that doesn't really have any by, well, banishing itself from the grave. Which Chaos Ruler enables, since you activate 5, then add usually a monster to your hand. If this gets sent to the grave, boom, you just got a free additional monster effect negate. But it's something this deck desperately needs. I definitely think Red Dragon Archfiend will play this. Which might be a controversial opinion. You can definitely see a build with Lost Wind, Titanocider, the Red Rain, I believe it's called, running this, going into Chaos Ruler, activate 5, you reliably get 1 or 2 of their traps in the grave. Hell, maybe even running Reasoning or Monster Gate or both. I can see some shenanigans happening, and this would definitely be run. Just the sheer fact that it's a monster negate in a deck that desperately needs it. It's pretty nice, so I thought these cards were terrible, but actually looking at them, this one is decent, this one is decent, this one is decent. Let's see if this trend continues. Dragon Kings Legend. There's a moment from Zaxxon that I still haven't watched to this day. Mihail, or whatever it's called, I don't know his name. Battling on the Moon, I believe, something like that. It's a quick play. You can only use one effect among the first and second with Scott aim per turn, and only once a turn, so probably a good graveyard effect, so you can't have in the same turn. It's a quickie, so you can use it as a trap, then use the other effect in your main phase, or, well, all the way around perhaps. Target the dragon monster you control, double its current attack until the end of this turn, then if your opponent controls a dragon monster. I really don't like this card. The target monster's effect activation cannot be negated this turn. Not impressed yet, it's like a weak Megamorph as a quick play. During your main phase you can banish card from the graveyard, special summon in defense, one of your Dragon Seed monster that is banished or in the grave. Now this graveyard effect, however, is not completely terrible, but I also wouldn't say it's great. Main phase 1, use this effect. Battle phase attack with it, main phase 2, go into Zeus, except Zeus kind of requires more than that. I suppose the Galaxy Eyes can attach themselves to the other Galaxy Eyes, so theoretically speaking it would be great there, but yeah. No, this is a pretty terrible card, I'm not gonna lie. Oh hey, this is from like one opening. Speaking, I believe it was, or else an ending. Like all the bracelet girls going for a high five. It's a pretty cute throwback. Graceful Song under a Frosty Moon. Okay, it's an equip spell. You can use the first attack effect of this card name each once per turn. So summon a level 4 lower fairy, spellcaster, winged beast, or beast wild monster from your hand. And if you do equip with this card, then return all dragon monsters of field to their hand. Giant Grenade for dragons for no really good reason besides, well, being anime accurate. Well, Fortune Fairies might play this if the other effects are good. During the end phase, if this card in your graveyard got Centaur, well, this was face up in a spell, trap zone this turn. You can add Polymerization spell, or Fusion Parasite from your deck to your hand. Really, we're gonna embrace the Fusion Parasite stuff. Then, regardless, it summons something from your hand. It's an equip spell. Equip spells inherently have uses for being equip spells purposes. Although that's mostly Assault Turbo decks, none of these 4 types are Warrior. It does special summon, however, and I can see that being relevant to some decks. And you know, searching a polymerization spell or a fusion spell can be really good. Just don't think it's worth running. This should be the final one. Prisoners of Destiny, continuous trap, okay? You can only activate 1 card, this card name per turn, it's a continuous trap. Like, what? Possible chain. If a Link 4 monster is Link summoned, you can place 1 counter on this card, maximum 3. Then you can apply one of these effects, depending on the number of those counters on this card. Declare a card name, and for the rest of the turn, negate the activated effects and effects on the field of cards with that original name. Special summon level 4 lower monster from your graveyard, generic reborn, although it's a trap. Send this card to the graveyard if you special summon a Link 4 monster from an extra deck. But then you need to use this first. Then summon 3 Link 4 monsters, they can do it. No, that's just too slow. Maybe if there's a continuous spell, but even then that would be arguable. Debatable, whatever you want to call it. Pretty terrible. Yeah, not that great. Pretty terrible as well. Interesting. Probably gonna see play. Interesting, might see play in Ancient Gears. Good target you want in the grave if you don't want to actually draw this. All in all, I expected these to be worse, so yeah, that's actually pretty good. If you guys like the review, I'm signing out. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.